My name's Rico Jack. I'm the founder and co-director of Dynamix. We're a social enterprise based in Gateshead.
My name is Rosa Sturak-McCreary. I'm a director of Dynamix Extreme.
We primarily do wheeled sports, circus training, trampolines. We do a bit of motocross as well, outdoors.
And we've incubated various social enterprises and small businesses.
And we're based in a city central location. We've been here for around 9 years now. So I was born in Malawi. I came here when I was 10 with my mum and younger brother and my stepdad. We came to live in Whitley Bay for some strange reason. We were the only dark-skinned kids in Whitley Bay, which wasn't the best fun in the world, but we soon got used to it. We grew up around European culture, so we kind of very quickly forgot our African roots because it wasn't really relevant here, I suppose. We didn't forget, obviously, our family and where we came from, but we didn't really know much else about the continent that we came from. It wasn't taught in schools, and we weren't taught about our heritage. We weren't taught about anything to do with Africa, and I was already quite proud of my heritage. And obviously that was a difficult thing for people to understand, why I would be so proud of coming from a backward society, basically, is what they thought. And you can't blame them really, because the education was so poor in terms of, you know, what African people had done for the world. So I felt that as an adult, looking back at my childhood, that things could have been a bit better, that my education could have been a bit more diverse. And as an African, I think it's my duty to try and, you know, even up the score a little bit, and to try and learn as much as I can about African heritage and African history, and to also try and spread that so other people can access it if they wish. So the Unsung project isn't really my unique concept. It's something that has developed over a 10 to 15 year period in me due to the influences I've had from other people. So I've had mentors such as Ghana Harris, who was like a bigger brother to me when I first started off in business. And he encouraged me to trace my African roots.
And we realized that the process of understanding that history and that heritage that contributed to a greater understanding of himself, Rico himself, as a person of African heritage, was a process that we would like to share with other people. And we therefore felt it was important to share some of the achievements and contributions of people of African heritage, which may not have been so widely talked about or given a platform, and also events and activities that celebrate African heritage and culture.
So it was a real honour to put on a couple of shows here at Dynamix. One of the shows was The Tempest by a company from Malawi called Billy Manquet Arts. And another show was Circus Zambia, who did something about a Malawian teenager named William, who basically taught himself to become an inventor.
We've had a mural, a huge mural done on the outside of the Dynamix building by the artist Nikwai Dref Desan.
The mural that we commissioned Dref to do was because I'd bumped into him in London when I was studying an African history course at the Black Cultural Archives. He had done a series on African women, and he had gone around London painting massive murals of African women on the series that he called You Are Enough. So this was a natural continuation for him.
And that mural celebrates someone who has been important in our journey in terms of understanding the history and what is happening now in terms of African reparations, and that is Esther Stanford Kose.
She was helping me to unlock the knowledge that I needed to gain in terms of reparations. Initially I thought reparations was about money, and it's actually only 1% about money. Reparations is about repairing the damage that was caused by the greatest Holocaust in human history, the African Holocaust. The commission was about 3 days. He also introduced a piece just before he left at an event that we ran to do with Claudia Jones's background and the history of the Notting Hill Carnival.
I developed a a series which really kind of evolved quite organically. Started off after a visit to Ghana last Christmas, and it was a series of 10 portraits of females with women in my circle who I just felt that were doing really amazing things for the community, but didn't feel they were getting celebrated the way that they should. So I just was making portraits of those people, and the reason why I paint is the same reason why you've asked me to paint. And it's, you know, it's about celebrating people who are doing great things for the community.
We have had a series of film screenings, so films made by African people, as well as workshops, so a workshop on forum theatre as a tool for looking at how we talk about race, identity, African heritage, how we can unpick some of the issues that we might experience living in the communities and the society that we live in today here in Britain. We have had a workshop with Hip Hop Shakespeare Company, Akala's company. We more recently have had a programme running at the Star and Shadow Cinema, which has included an exhibition, Unsung Sheroes and Heroes of African Heritage, in which we have featured 19 people from the fields of arts and culture, liberation and innovation. So people who have made significant contributions either from the past or people who are still living, people in the present. And that exhibition really, again, is about highlighting the people who aren't talked about necessarily every Black History Month.
I think it's incredible. I didn't know these things about Africa in terms of the women, because I always thought that Africa was quite a patriarchal society, and then reading that there was female head of states in the 19th century, which is incredible. And I had no idea about the Ashanti warriors, so that's incredible to learn about that sort of that history that we never knew about. You know, no one talked about women being in power in the 19th century.
And there's quite a nice piece in the entrance which talks to you about different language that you can use and different words that you can adopt and different terminology that is more respectful and less oppressive.
Sheroes who I'm really inspired by are Claudia Jones, who was a communist, a trade unionist and a community activist, and she actually founded the Notting Hill Carnival.
We had a visit from Chillingham Road School. They came to see the Unsung exhibition at the Star and Shadow Cinema. They taught me a lot and the rest of us a lot about how much young people really do need to learn about African heritage. It's absolutely everywhere. Racism is about power and it's about privilege, all right? The power is the main thing. If you don't have any power and you call someone a name, what are they going to do to you? What are they going to say? If you don't have any power and you call someone a name, what are they going to say?
Well, they're going to say, well, like, they're going to say, well, you're ridiculous, you've got no power, I've got so much power. Exactly. You could get sent to prison for that and you can't do anything about it. And
that's racism. When you've got no power to fight back and someone's calling you names, but if you call them names based on the same thing, it doesn't really hurt them. Okay, so it's an imbalance of power.
The children were really excited and shocked to find out that the person who invented GPS, for example, was a woman of African heritage. We had an event which was a closing party for the whole month of activities, and that featured a number of young artists of African heritage. So we had DG Solanke, originally from Nigeria, but a singer-songwriter based here in the Northeast.
I think the Unsung project is important and needed because as a person of African heritage living in the Northeast, I feel empowered knowing and being able to see examples of people similar to me and the great works that they've done. I feel motivated as a result.
We had Nello Da, who is a hip-hop artist, also known as Rife, who is of Angolan heritage.
Yeah, yeah, and they say,
don't be afraid to bump your head too, man.
They say,
get me?
Yeah, and they say,
The Unsung project for me, it means voice.
Remember, we are all geniuses.
Yeah.
In this venue right now, we are all geniuses.
In the Unsung project, it gave us that edge. It gave us that lead to, like, you know, stand in front of people and talk and express how you feel.
We had Georgia May, a local singer.
Like a butterfly, you forget, spend a little time working on yourself. And then it comes to the deadline, and there's not enough support in your life.
The idea of the project was really interesting and encouraged me to want to learn and, like, reach out to my roots.
And then she collaborated with Oz Peters and Chris Macbeth, and Oz was one of our commissioned artists for the Unsung exhibition.
I have made an installation called Patchwork, which is a conglomerate of interchangeable songs, which means to say that the sections, drum sections, are interchangeable between the songs, so is the narrative and the instrumentation.
So our headline act for that night were the ladies of Midnight Blue, Hanabiel and Gillis, who are great friends and collaborators of ours, people that we have a huge amount of respect for because of the way that they use their music and their arts as community activism, as ways of bringing people together.
I'd like to thank everyone who's been involved in the project. Being a director of Dynamix has enabled me to have the confidence to go forward and to attempt a project like this. Now it's spiraling into other things, and I hope to work with all the people that have been involved in the future. And I hope that they've got something out of it and have learned, you know, quite a lot about themselves as well as about African heritage.
So we'd of course like to thank our funder, the Arts Council, and Northern Stage, who've also provided some support for this project. We've worked closely with Attire Projects, and Lalia has put in a huge amount of work to make this all happen, in particular the exhibition.
My name is Lalia Guy. I'm the curator for the Unsung program. I run Attire Projects, which is digital media art practice. I was very happy to participate in this project because I think it's very important to highlight the achievements of people of African heritage.
Hanabiel and Gillis, ladies of Midnight Blue, and Harambe Pasadia, and also Ryan at the Calabash Tree, and Nobia, who makes West African food. Fantastic catering for a number of the events, and food is really an important aspect that we'd like to celebrate. And all of the people who have contributed to making this whole project happen. Our venue for the second part of the festival, the Star and Shadow Cinema, has also been a massive support, and all of their volunteers, we really appreciate their contributions as well.